So we're delighted to welcome now Jessica Morris from BakerRisk, and she's going to share with us a case study of some work we've been doing with them recently.
Great. So thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to present today on what we've been using the Ingenuity software for. So I'm going to provide a little bit of an overview of what we're talking about today. I'm going to give a little introduction on who is BakerRisk, who am I, what was the software need, what happened for software development, and what are the results of using Eigen's Ingenuity 7. So, a real quick overview, just to provide context on who we are, is that BakerRisk is an employee owned company. We've been around for over 40 years. We have over 200 employees, for 135 engineers and scientists, and we are located around we are located around the globe as well as work on projects around the globe. We specifically are in risk management. So we manage hazards and risks for our clients. We do consulting, we do software testing, research and development. That's a photo over here on the left hand side, as well as industry knowledge share. We are across many different areas, a lot of chemicals, manufacturing, fuels, refining, offshore. So there's a lot of different areas that we are able to serve. We primarily have process safety, a lot of chemical engineers, structural engineering, so our buildings, blast effects, so all the fires and explosions, as well as investigations. We also have a lot of software. So you're probably wondering, why are we using Ingenuity if we have a lot of software? So that's what I'm going to be chatting a little bit about today, and that is my case study. So a little bit of background on who I am. My name is Jessica. I am a chemical engineer. I have over 10 years experience in process safety, and I now manage the software group at BakerRisk. And we have over 30 different software solutions. These are all desktop applications, which is important to this story. And all of our applications are related to safety to help keep our clients safe. So you can see overlap with Eigen already. So the story that I'm going to tell is about a request that we received. And so we received a request for software, essentially just a proof of concept, and it was for three things. The first one was for energy analytics. They want to, and this is a client, I'm not naming the client or area, but this is a client and they specifically wanted energy analytics. So they want to be able to see what's going on with the data that's being collected on site. Can we see, regression? Are we able to see indicators? Can we see trends for what's going on? Because the energy analytics is important. And that ties into the next one of greenhouse gas calculations. Some countries have requirements for scope one, two, and three emissions. And this is something that they want to be seeing as a function of time. The last one was interesting for operational excellence. This is something that they want to have efficiencies of equipment and just excellence for their facilities. And so that's something that was interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the nuances of this request. So, two out of three of these requests is a little bit outside of my expertise. So, for energy analytics and greenhouse gases, these are two areas that, as a chemical engineer in process safety, that's not quite up my alley. And there's a lot of other industries that have software that exists for these areas. One third of this request is in my area of expertise, process safety management, but is a little bit vague. So here is where the desktop applications are coming into play. We primarily use desktop applications at BakerRisk, just due to security as well as legacy software. So in the past, we were able to mix and match code if we're using the same applications, but in this case, we cannot mix and match code. Creating software from scratch can be very time consuming, especially if you're not experienced in this area. There's a very large learning curve. And when we ask the client if we can potentially partner with a leading company and industry, for example, for the energy analytics or greenhouse gases, they did not want to partner. They wanted their own software that was fully customizable. The other thing that is a little bit different is they wanted to have real time data. They want to connect to their DCS historians, but they also wanted the ability to do manual data uploads. And so this is also requiring a secure connection that we do not connect to DCS systems with our desktop applications for risk studies. And they also want ISO compliant. So these were some of the nuances that were a part of this software request for energy analytics, greenhouse gases, and operational excellence. So this is a little bit of my timeline, which is important for the story. So in November of 2024, our business development department did a great job and they worked with a client and were able to get an agreement for proof of concept for software in the future. In December of 2024, BakerRisk met Eigen. We were actually able to meet them at a conference that I believe actually happened in November, and then I was introduced to them in early December. Very impressed with the work that is happening there. In mid December, the client changed the proof of concept. Instead of having it to be in the future, they changed it to a specific date in mid February of 2024. So that just shortened our timeline to very short. So, of course, we panicked. That was the next step. And then we were evaluating all of our options. How are we going to meet our clients' needs for such a short timeline? And that's where we were able to have more discussions with Eigen, and we decided to work with them based on their expertise as well as the Ingenuity 7 platform. And so in early January, we started working with Eigen on this proof of concept with Ingenuity 7. In late January, they changed things. They ramped up the software requests based on the feedback that they were getting. And by feedback, I mean the demos that they were seeing using Eigen's Ingenuity 7 platform and these dashboards that were being created. Due to the ease of use, it turned into a proof of concept to a fully functional software that would be demoed. So in February, we demoed the dashboards to hundreds of people over 3 days and received very positive feedback. So this is something that with Eigen's Ingenuity 7, we're able to lead clients in process safety management, which is our area of expertise, with the help of this dashboard. And we have many plans to take the Ingenuity 7 platform for our applications in the future. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about, what was that? What does that actually look like? And so we were taking a look at the sandbox. And so this was something that when you looked at the sandbox, specifically for the requests of energy analytics, greenhouse gases, and operational excellence, a lot of the data analytics are already there. And so this is just an example of the power generation dashboard showing, the different demand for UK power generation. We're also able to see carbon intensity. This is aligning with greenhouse gases. And there are a lot of pre-done widgets that allowed the ease of data portrayal. And so this is something that, if you are in software and you're coding these things from scratch, it takes a lot of time to change all of these things. And so making a very easy application and making all these pre-done widgets makes it really easy to show data in a comprehensive way that's providing value to the clients. So this over here on the left is the list of the nuances of the request for that original proof of concept. And here is why we ended up going with Eigen with Ingenuity 7. So when you're looking at the request, two thirds of the requests were outside my area of expertise, being in energy analytics and greenhouse gases. And when looking at Eigen's Ingenuity 7 sandbox, there's already dashboards that exist for very similar content. Also, and then for the third request of operational excellence, Eigen also has expertise as well as experience, with this third vague request. For the software creation, instead of using these desktop applications that we have at BakerRisk, Eigen has, these low code solutions. They're easy to use with widgets that are pre-done. All you have to do is add your own data. They are able to create client specific software that's able to be fully customizable to their needs. And with respect to real time data, Eigen has the experience and expertise to be able to securely connect to DCS historians. They're able to upload data, which was already shown about an hour ago. And they're also ISO 9001 and 27001 compliant. So Eigen solved all of our problems. So when we started working with Eigen in January, it was very easy to work with them. And so you can see here that we have two of the dashboards that you just saw from their sandbox. And what we did is we provided some, text box with white and red text, saying, "Hey, can we actually change this to make it more customizable for the client?" And so what we did is we mixed and matched the data that we liked from the sandbox. We added our own data. This was done through Excel uploads. And then we were able to work with the Eigen team and take our dashboards and data analytics to the next level. They also were gracious enough to host the dashboards online for demo purposes. And so now I'm going to pull up some of the dashboards, just give me still a little bit of time. So I'm going to pull up some of the dashboards. So you can see here on the left-hand side, we have a BakerRisk homepage. In here, we have the three areas. We have energy analytics, greenhouse gases or decarbonization for scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. We have operational excellence and some other examples. So the first one right here is energy analytics. This is something that we were able to use three different forms of data. So this file here, or this dashboard, shows what it would look like if you're able to connect to the DCS historian. So you're able to see real-time data, you're able to snap to whatever period that you want, you're able to zoom in on the information based on what you're looking for. It was very insightful for the data analytics if connected to real-time DCS data. You can also see that we can aggregate the data. Over here in the bottom left-hand side is, aggregation by month. So you can see the month, the feed, fuel, production, electricity. And over here on the right-hand side, you can see what this looks like as a function of quarter and year. And so this is just one way to show what do energy analytics look like for real-time, monthly aggregated, quarterly, as well as year. The next tab that we have is showing what this data looks like if we're using that Excel file upload. And so this allows the client to upload data for an entire period of time. So this one shows how much data is or how much energy is being consumed for different sites. So we can see total consumption, breaking it down by electricity, by gas, and then we can see this data portrayed different ways. The last one is also similar, showing what that looks like if you were to upload data using an Excel. And so you can see all of the graphics are very user friendly. They're able to be fully customizable, and you can also add data, different ways. If it is going to be connected to the DCS historian, if it is manually added, if it's uploaded through an Excel, these were things that were very beneficial for the client because it's not always one size fits all. And so it makes it fully customizable for the client. The next one is decarbonization. This is something that I won't go into all the details, but we're able to show what the greenhouse gas emissions are for scope 1 data, scope 2, as well as scope 3. All of this information was, it was great. And you're also able to have more um, better insights by seeing, what's going on. We've dropped down menus for time. We've dropped down menus for, what class breakdown. And so it was something that was very well received. What I think really set the stage was operational excellence. And so for the first two areas, there are other companies that do energy analytics and greenhouse gases, but operational excellence is a word that is not clearly defined. And so there's not software on operational excellence. But how do you manage your process safety systems? And this is something that BakerRisk does risk management, but Eigen also does a lot of great work in this area. And they're able to help us put together some really great dashboards for this area. And so, for example, what we have here are three different common pieces of equipment that are seen at sites. So we have a heat exchanger, a compressor, as well as a pump, and you're able to see all of the information that is specific, that is a much more in-depth detail for your site. And then the last one I'll show you is if you were to take it at a bigger level. And so this went over very well because for each individual, for example, heat exchanger, you can see, the real-time data if connected to the historian. You can see what it's currently running at, what the average is over a period of time, what the baseline is. And as you've all probably seen with the demos, everything's fully customizable. So if I were to right here say, what is the cold, you know, fluid coming in, I'm able to directly connect that and show exactly where that's coming from. So this pre-done dashboard is able to be connected for all of your heat exchangers. You can create a new dashboard for every single heat exchanger and get operational excellence information. So you can see all the different calculations to see how it's running. You can see, what's the duty error, the fouling factor, and these are things that can provide insights for the client to be able to, figure out, hey, how much, how is this, what rate is this fouling? When should I be doing preventative maintenance? And it's actually resulting in better data analytics and helping the site. This one right here is for a compressor or expander. It's showing, what it looks like for real-time data. What are the heat rates, output, what are the constants, and, all this information is the same way. Everything is fully editable, so you can directly tag it to whatever source of information that you're getting it from. So it's easy to edit and change for, one compressor versus the many that are observed at a site. Same with pumps, and this was great. The last one, I think you guys may have seen this picture before or this dashboard. This one went over really well. So this is what Denise was showing earlier, that you can actually, add in your full P&IDs. You can have all the different graphics. And this went over well because this allows you to have for clients that are looking at operational excellence, it allows you to have better insight at a higher level. And so, for example, if we were to look at something like heat exchangers and we wanted to see how are all the heat exchangers at our facility operating, you're able to see, okay, maybe can create a P&ID for all the heat exchangers for a different area, and we can customize this information. So, for example, if I want to see this heat exchanger, I can make details saying, hey, I would like this to pulse. I would like it to pulse if you know, the temperature that's being exchanged is less than a specific value. And what this does is it creates a better dashboard to provide better data analytics. So we can look at this here and see, okay, if I have 20 heat exchangers and one of them is operating with a delta 10 degrees and the other one's operating with a delta of 2 degrees, that helps me understand, hey, this one is behaving a bit funky. What's going on? How can I fix this? And it's providing real time data analytics that are much more insightful for that operational excellence. And so this all went over very well for the demo that we did in this area. So that was my demo for the final product. I'm going to end with my results. So, personally, and our team at BakerRisk, we were unable to meet this unrealistic software without the without Ingenuity 7. And so we were able to meet it, we were able to deliver, and we blew the client out of the water with the results of the dashboard. This was novel software, so we were able to incorporate whatever requests were thrown at us, which the team will tell you that they were always changing, which is the next point. And it was great that we were able to make changes on the fly with the client watching. So sitting in a room with 20 people and they were asking questions or wanting to make edits and be able to do that real time was very beneficial. And we were also able to provide solutions based on the Eigen's team members' expertise for some of these vague requests. So seeing those, the pumps, the compressors, the heat exchangers, those are things that the Eigen team put together that went over really well with the clients. It was a fully functional software. This was not a demo software. This is fully functional. This showed data that we got from the client. So that was very beneficial. It was also fully customizable. So if a client has, different data, if it's connected to the DCS historian, being uploaded through Excel, manually shared, or if they want to change the different systems, that was all fully customizable. Right. They also were able to provide a secure connection. And so BakerRisk does not have that expertise. We primarily use desktop applications. So being able to securely connect to clients' DCS, historians, as well as other options was something that was super beneficial and positive to the client. And with the ISO compliance for 9001 and 27001, this really instilled confidence just for security. So that ends my case study on our experience using the Eigen Ingenuity 7 platform. It was a very positive experience.
Great. Thank you so much, Jessica. That was fantastic to hear. It was a great project to be part of. I know the team were excited and challenged by it for sure. And it's the first time I think we've been able to meet an unrealistic deadline. So love that phrase. Thank you. That's great. So if anyone has any questions, then please do put them in the Q&A. Jessica, I know that when you did that demo as well, there was limited connectivity. So you had
Yeah.
to put it inside. a box that you could take into a room with no Wi-Fi.
That is
Uh,
correct. I think the week before we were supposed to give the demo, the client changed it and said, "By the way, there's gonna be no Wi-Fi." And so while all of this was hosted online, it was a last minute dash to try to get this working, which was something that the Eigen team worked tirelessly to help us put that together last minute. So very positive experience, very positive things to say about not only the software, but also the expertise that the Eigen team provided as well as service.
Oh, thanks, much appreciated. But I think, and that's what we see a lot of now, that it's quite a complex world, I guess, and to bring a project together, you need all that different expertise. So you understand the client, you understand their business and what they're trying to do, and now the software world's getting complicated as well. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
as simple as it used to be. So we're delighted to work with you on that. Look forward to
Yeah.
much more
Yeah,
in the
it's great. It's
future.
something that we're very happy to work with Eigen because it allows us to take our software to the next level. You know, we have desktop applications primarily, and we do have future plans on taking our risk management studies and then enhancing them and providing real-time information to the client based on Ingenuity 7. So that is maybe another case study in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Just to answer, there was a question in the chat about going back to the Excel add-in. I can just mention that it was the question was can we do a count of when something happens, like if a value goes over a set point? And I'd say absolutely. So you can do it in the Excel app, but this is something that actually was relevant to the BakerRisk demo. We had to use some of the low code solutions in there when you need a bit of logic. If it's not possible to do it with a straight formula, you always have the option of some of the low code stuff as well. But using the Excel add-in, you absolutely could. You could make Excel formulas. So thank you for everyone who's attended. Thank you for the questions, and thank you to all the presenters, for Jessica for getting up so early as well to be part of this. It's been great to see everyone. The videos of this will be made available and distributed. So thanks again and look forward to seeing you either in the office or at the next one. Thanks, everyone.